There's so many stories out there about lost THX trailers, lost episodes of Teletubbies, and mostly related series of animated movies I've been reading as of recent. If you think those are rather disturbing, well, my experience with lost Teletubbies was to me rather the most frightening. Teletubbies is a show about four-colored alien-like creatures who do lots of weird stuff. Now, I grew up with the Teletubbies when I was little. It had a lot of great background music and colors and whatnot. But all that was about to change when I come across what would appear to be a very frightening Teletubbies episode. It all began on a day in early June. I was visiting a flea market down in the city of Packwood, Washington. I was ordering some lunch and I went to the media section to see if anything was interesting. While scrolling, I came across the children's media section. It mostly consisted of DVDs of SpongeBob SquarePants, Blue's Clues, Caillou, Disney and Pixar films, and other shows and films. That's when I noticed a DVD that appeared to be in a CD case. The name of the DVD was Teletubbies, Yuki, Terumi, and Other Stories. Apparently, it was imported from Australia since it had the ABC for Kids logo on the rating. One thing that confused me was that there wasn't a DVD video logo, it was very unofficial. As I looked at the case, it said in my head, "Hold the phone. Do I recognize that character in the background from somewhere?" I bought the DVD and later on I went home. The next day was a Sunday and we all went to church. After church, we headed home as the rest of my family proclaimed that they were going to the movies to see Spirit Untamed. Now, I didn't go because I was a huge hater of Spirit Riding Free, since it clearly ruined the original Spirit Stallion Cimarron movie. After they left, I figured that would be a great opportunity to watch the DVD by myself. The opening scene are normal like those other Teletubbies DVDs I came across once with the BBC logo and the ABC DVD logo. Then it took me to the DVD menu. The menu consisted of Yuki Terumi just sitting in a grass field and he said, "So what option are you picking today?" I also recognized that an orchestra version of a song called Bullet Dance was playing. As soon as I heard it, I was like, "Oh, I get it. Yuki Terumi from Blaze Blue, so it's a Blaze Blue episode." I hit play and the video started. It first played two normal episodes of Teletubbies such as Painting with Our Hands and Feet and The Beach. However, after those two episodes, the next episode started with a warning that sounded like it was being read by Bradley Cooper. The warning said, "Warning. The following episode contains jump scares, blood and gore that may not be suitable for children or anyone else under 18. Viewer discretion is advised." I began to get worried considering how an episode of Baby Show can have some content for people over 18. As with any Teletubbies episode, it began as usual with the intro of the baby sun laughing while rising up. The rest of the intro was normal, except for when the Tubbyland trumpet said something honestly different, similar to the last episode Flowers. This time it said, "I've got a bad feeling about this." The episode finally began with Poe riding on her scooter. She got inside and made it to Tubby Custard. Hold on. She rode all the way down till she reached the Teletubby house. She got inside and made some Tubby Custard when all of a sudden she saw a yellow coat and cape. The narrator, who happened to sound like Ringo Starr, said, "It's a yellow coat and cape, but what kind of coat and cape is it?" Poe then decided to walk towards it. When she touched it, a person had become visible. That person was probably the character I saw on the cover. He turned around and my theory was correct. It was him. It was Yuki Terumi. He appeared in his 2D form. 2D as in hand-drawn. He greeted Poe with a friendly hello and he introduced himself. After our conversation, Poe went outside and to inform the rest of the crew about what she had just seen. Tinky Winky, Dipsy, and Lala were jumping what appeared to be a rain puddle until Poe came in saying, "Special guest! Special guest!" Tinky Winky was confused as he looked at the camera. He asked, "What Poe saying?" The narrator told him that Poe found someone special, and Yuki came out and introduced himself to the other three. That was until the windmill began spinning like normal and Teletubbies said, "Uh-oh," as usual. Yuki decided to watch the Teletubbies leave. But that wasn't until he walked up close to the camera and said, "I've got a very special game that me and the Teletubbies will enjoy." To me, the game that Yuki was planning would sound rather disturbing. The Teletubbies went up to a hill to see who would be the one to host the TV event. Tiki Wiki was the one selected as the video started. It featured three kids who appeared to be American. One was a boy with black hair and a red long sleeve shirt. One was a girl with blonde hair and an orange t-shirt. And the other was another boy who was African American. He was wearing a shirt with the wiggles on it. They were all waving to the Teletubbies, and then they said that they were going to do a coloring contest. They were coloring pictures of what looked like flowers, tigers, and igloos. While they were coloring, they heard a loud boom. The kid in the long sleeve asked, "Did you hear that?" The girl said, "I heard it. Is there a fireworks show?" They went over to the window and saw that the sky was a combination of black and green. Just then, the mother of the family, who looked Spanish American while holding the baby, came into the room and told the children, "Kids, get away from the window. It's not safe there." The boy in the Wiggles shirt asked, "Why?" All of a sudden, a giant snake that was the same color as the sky appeared. The snake reminded me of the stick that Hazama uses for his astral fetish in BlazBlue. The children and mother began to scream. They all tried to run out to the safest place as they panned out of the house. After it panned out, the snake began to break the window and charge at the family. As it killed the family, the screams of the children and mother were heard, blood could be heard splattering, the baby was heard crying, and the sounds of doors breaking down were present. As I could tell, the Teletubbies were very scared. After the TV event ended, the baby's son did nothing like in the few episodes I've seen before. It didn't do any laughing, nor did it coo. The baby's son was dead silent. Then it goes back to the Teletubby house. However, the sky had the same colors from the TV event. As Teletubbies were eating some tubby custard, Yuki, who was outside, said, "Teletubbies, front and center." The Teletubbies did as he said. Yuki then said, "I have made a very special game for the both of us. It'll be very fun, I promise. The game is called Hide from Terumi. Whoever gets it right in my game gets to be a new challenger for the next BlazBlue game. Ready?" Okay, Arc System Works is not Rowan Ragdoll production, so I even mentioned it. Anyway, Teletubbies got excited as Yuki said, "Go!" They then went to hide. All of a sudden, the main three, such as Ragnar the Blood Edge, Noel Vermilion, and Jin Kisaragi came out. Ragnar said, "This sky isn't what I think it is. The Teletubbies may be anywhere." Noel said, "You think the Teletubbies are evil? That's just internet stuff." Ragnar then said, "By that, Noel, I mean that Terumi is causing havoc on the Teletubbies." Just then they saw the Teletubbies running. Jin yelled, "You there, Teletubbies!" The Teletubbies stopped and walked towards Jin. He then told them, "You might want to get back to the Teletubby house. We'll handle Terumi. Now go!" They did as Jin said. Yuki then said, "You idiots! They were supposed to participate in my game, and you're calling it off? How dare you!" Ragnar said, "Game over, Terumi. You're killing sprees to scare the world to death." He then told Noel, "Noel, go inside the house of the Teletubbies and protect them for as long as you can. Jin and I will face off Terumi." Noel responded, "We'll do it, Ragnar." She then went inside and saw the Teletubbies standing near the custard machine. She said, "Don't worry, guys. I've got a few men protecting you guys from Terumi." The narrator asked, "Noel?" Noel responded with, "Yes?" as she walked up towards the screen. The narrator then asked, "What's so evil about Yuki?" Noel replied, "Well, he's healed back in the BlazBlue universe, and what he's actually here for is to kill the Teletubbies. That's what is so evil about him." Just then a time card popped up saying 1 hour later. The Teletubbies and Noel were sitting at the table wondering what was going on. "Tiki Wiki boy," said Tiki Winky. Noel then said, "Me too. Usually battles of Terumi don't last this long." Or do they? She then went outside wondering what had happened to Ragnar and Jin. However, they were nowhere to be seen. All of a sudden, Yuki said, "It's too late, Noel. I've murdered them and put them in a hidden place. And now it's your turn." He then took out a knife and began cutting Noel to death. However, Noel wasn't doing any cartoon screaming. It's not like her English actor Christina V was, in pain. All Teletubbies walked out to see what was going on. Yuki then said, "No one is going to save you now. Goodbye, you guys." Yuki began to take a giant snake like in the TV event and it ate the heads of the characters. And then Rachel Alucard came out and said, "You fool. You've mended everyone. Now I'm sure God will not be happy." Yuki heard her voice and said in a demonic tone, "You stupid British girl, now you must die." He then took out a gun and shot Rachel. He then said, "My work here is done." Instead of doing a Tubby Bye-Bye segment, it automatically cuts to the credits with a shot of the dead bodies of Ragna, Jin, Noelle, Tinky Winky, Dipsy, Lala, Poe, and Rachel. The character select theme of BlazBlue Calamity Trigger began to play in a very low tone. After the credits, the Ragdoll Productions logo appeared, but instead, the background was dark green and the sound of a fork scratching out a plate played very loud. It barely hurt my ears. "Jesus Christ!" I yelled. After that, it went to a blade-like ABC DVD logo, but the blood looked like it was drawn by a little kid. It also had the ABC for Kids logo, but it was green and the text looked like it was in a rather right color. But what happened next really shocked me. It showed a blue screen with the words "No Signal" on it. It stayed like this for about a minute, until I saw something that scared the living life out of me. It was an demented picture of Rachel Alucard, with her face zoomed in. However, her eyes were red black pupils and red dots. There was also blood dripping from her sockets in her mouth. It was copied by a slow, distorted, and very loud version of April's scream from the 2008 movie Revolutionary Road, a slow and distorted version of Woody's scream from when Woody wakes from his nightmare in Toy Story 2, and Alicia Body's screams in the Time of Friends episode Thomas, Percy, and the Squeak. The second murder thing can also be heard in the background. After all of that, it took me back to the menu. I was glad that it was over. I took out the DVD and began to smash it. I was originally thinking about showing the DVD on my parents, they would highly be terrified. If there's one person who would be responsible for making that episode, it would have to be that British criminal Ted Morgan. The end.